And while I'm here, I'm gonna. Okay, cool. Okay. I just didn't turn it on. There's like 5 places to turn it on though. So, okay. Here, let's get back to the documentation page. No, that's what I want. Okay. I need to do one more thing. I need to close my office door so I don't annoy my family. I'll be right back. No. Stay there. It's okay. Shh. Okay, I'm back. Okay. Yeah. Oh. Then that's a reason to make that work, because if I don't have that, if I don't have desktop audio, then we won't be able to hear you or anybody else ask questions, and that's kind of important. So if I go back to settings, go to audio, desktop audio, built in. How about if I just choose default? Apply that. Can you say something?
Yep. Check 1, 2. Oh, there it is. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. I just like, have you tried turning it off and turning it back on again? Yes. that's usually what does it. Okay. Well, welcome everybody to the much delayed but definitely we're going live. FAFO session number 26. We're going to look at SDK7, and we're going to look at the description of the scene in SDK7. So here, this documentation is relatively new, and I'm excited about this because as we've looked at some of this stuff in the past, I know, or you know for certain that it's been a little iffy, incomplete. So let's see if we can crack this and improve it. So okay. 3D content is made up of scenes. There's a quick start. The Decentraland editor is an all-in-one editor. I think that it still only exists on Windows though, so I'm gonna steer clear of that because I know people in this space, a lot of them use Macs, and I know that if we go with Visual Studio Code, and we just launch the scene or deploy the scene direct to a browser, then we won't need to use the DCL editor, so that more people can participate. The current stable version of the SDK is 6. Everything documented under scenes refers to that stable version. To try out the new version 7 of the SDK, which is still in beta, read the document SDK scenes beta. So this is sort of a pet peeve of mine. Why make a reference to something if it's in a HTML document and not have an actual link to it? Like, I'd like to be able
Agreed.
to That's like to be able to click on it. It's like, okay, you make it bold, but there's no link to it. It's probably over here somewhere. Getting started. There it is. SDK scenes beta getting started. Yeah. Boom. Okay, getting started. Quick start.
Oh, I guess because they referenced the entire section and there's not really a page for that section.
Yeah, I don't know. You could still... Internal links of a page is a lost art in HTML. I think that was a convention that got started that was really cool, and then everybody started using JavaScript and Flash and Macromedia Dreamweaver and shit like that.
Yep, everything became a single page application.
Yeah. I still like to go in, like in my tweets, I'll go into my tweets and I will include alt text for it. Like, I'll describe the picture that I post. I haven't done it in a while, but it's an important thing because there's people that are visually impaired, and They want to know what's in the picture. Okay.
Totally.
Let's try this again. Install the editor. To install the editor, install Visual Studio Code if you don't have it already. Open Visual Studio Code and open the extensions marketplace. Search for Decentraland Editor SDK7. Now remember, Unknower, we did this before.
Yes.
And this was incomplete. So I'm going to try it again with the hope that, because if we go back and we look at the page, like that first page that we were on, you know, it says welcome, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, I keep clicking on the wrong thing. That was April 20th was when that was most recently updated. So when was this? April 20th. Okay, so hopefully, hope springs eternal that this is going to be up-to-date information. Okay, so we search for SDK editor, Decentraland editor SDK7. And there it is. There's SDK6, there's SDK7. And we're going to install it. Okay. Read the installation guide. See, this is where things went awry. For more details about installing the editor. I don't think I need to do that, though. I think I pretty much know how to install the editor, and it's pretty straightforward. I am going to need to install the other dependencies, though. So let me just go here. Chitta, are you able to follow along with us? Are you at work, or how's it going there? Just want to check in with you. Yeah, this is pretty much what we're doing right now. You'll need to restart Visual Studio. Okay, if you run into issues, see the troubleshooting section.
Oh man, this is becoming like Wikipedia link clicking.
Yeah.
You just go deeper and deeper.
Yeah, so I'll just have that open. I think I can close that. There's my troubleshooting doc, and I can close this now. Because you've confirmed that it's working. And it's working on Restream, so okay. Back, nope, back here. Okay. Don't want to have troubleshooting. Okay. Read the installation. Clone the following template scene to your local machine. Click the Use This Template button. Then select Create a New Repository to clone it.
Oh yeah, this was. I remember looking at this last time and being like, "Do we really have to do that, or can because it just creates a new the extension that you just installed just will create this template for you automatically anyway."
Yeah, and since our last time doing this, or the first time doing this, Nico I've spoken to him, and he's like, yeah, I watched I watched your FAFO session. It was very informative. So my hope is that they've come in and adjusted the code, but I don't know. Okay, so this is what you were saying. This guy will walk you through creating a scene. Open folder. Well, I'm going to need to make one. So we'll just call this, we'll just label it DCL. And we'll open that. Okay, yes, I trust the authors. I mean, I trust myself, so... Okay.
Oh man, I've had that thought so many times. It's like, this is my project, so I don't know. Do I trust myself? That's a pretty deep philosophical question.
Okay. The scene is built with SDK7 in alpha state. Yeah, this was the goal today, was to go through this and to just kind of talk about, because I remember you and Lastrom coming in and be like, oh, I wonder why they structured it that way, and it's different than SDK6. And when I was just previewing this, I noticed that, this is different from SDK6 base components, so on and so forth. So I thought that this would be kind of nice to go through. An entity is just an ID. It's an abstract. Well, wait a minute. Back up here. Hold the phone. Search for Decentraland Editor SDK7 extension, and then click install. You'll need to restart. Okay, I didn't do that. I'll restart it, but here, let me put this in my add to favorites. There we go.
Was that not the extension that was asking you to pick a folder? I thought we did install it.
Yeah, I thought so too. See, here's the DCL folder. Here's SDK7.
I guess maybe it was just asking you to open a folder in VS Code.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's a Visual Studio Code start sort of thing. But here, now I'm in SDK7, and I can create the project here. Oh, doesn't appear to be working. Oh, no, it is.
It's down, yeah.
Thank you.
Bottom right corner.
Thank you. Okay. Installing dependencies. Yeah, this is what you were referring to when you said going here and doing this is not necessary.
And it also brings a lot of that element of assumption of knowledge, like create a new repository. Like if someone's completely new to this, it's like, what even is a repository? What am I doing on this other total complete website that's not? It has, it says Decentraland, but it's on GitHub.com. Is this safe? If you're completely new to this, like objectively speaking, it could be very confusing. So I think it'd be easier to say that this is not even really necessary, and the extension is gonna.
Yeah, and I think it would be
for you, but
it would be helpful.
It still seems like that's maybe a carryover from.
No, it would just be helpful to have some visual cues too, and we mentioned this last time, but it's like, go here, click on complete installation or whatever, or create. I forget what it said. It said create something. It was just a single button. So it's
create
like
project, I think.
Create project. Yeah, thank you. So, and now it's run scene and then publish scene, right? So yeah, that's like so much easier than this blind alley or this red herring. Not really a red herring. It's a waste of time. That's what it is.
Right. Well, it's like, I don't know if anyone's ever gone mountain biking, but on some trails there's like an advanced section, and then there's kind of like the intermediate or beginner like bypass.
Yeah.
And it's like they're sending people up the advanced route when they should be sending them on the beginner bypass.
I really like that analogy on Noah, because I think in the quick start, it would be nice to have a contextually adaptive, according to skill level, set of documentation. So
yeah, that's a really good idea.
Like in you can do this on some forum posts. I can't remember the name, but the Decentraland forum uses this. Where it's got the disco bot and it like walks you through and teaches you how to do things, and you get little awards and whatever. Like you can just skip over all of that and then go right to just posting. Or the people that really like that hand holding can go through and experience disco bot and get those little gold stars and feel more comfortable. One of the tools that DiscoBot teaches you how to use is that reveal. So there could be, just like over here, the twirl down menus, you could have that be in this documentation, because this is just Git docs, right? I'm assuming. But you can have sections like that where, for a more detailed explanation of, how to do this from the command line interface, go here. But to have that bypass route that you're talking about for the noobs like myself, that should be presented and the default of what we see, and then you'd have to drill down and seek out that other information.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, So here we are. Read the installation guide. I don't think I need to do that. So clone the. So I don't need to do this just yet, right? Is that what we're deciding? Use the template button.
Because when you did create project, that's basically what it did for you.
Okay.
So
okay.
I think you're at create your first scene now.
Yeah. So I just need to run the scene.
Yep, and that should open up a window right there in the
Yep. Here we go.
code, and you also have the option to open it in the browser up in the top right there.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Gives you a little more real estate to work with in your editor.
Okay, now I can close that. Oh, publishing, is that new? That must be new. I'm wondering, where is it trying to publish it?
I think that publishes it to Genesis City, and then there's 3 dots at like the very top of that panel on the left side. The panel that says run scene and publish scene. So at the very top, actually
okay.
it pops up right there. Yeah, and if you expand that, then you can publish to your world and a test server, which is like Heroku, and like custom servers and stuff like that.
Okay.
I've never seen Open Inspector before, though. That's kind of cool. I wonder if that's like a built-in debugger.
Oh, I just closed. I think no. Here we go.
Yeah, it's weird that it like appears and disappears because you would never even know it's there. But I guess VS Code is to blame for that.
Yeah. Open Inspector. What's that?
Yeah, that's what I don't know. I've never seen that one before.
Let's try it. And let's. Yeah. This is what we were messing around with a couple weeks ago. This is our spawn cube. Press E to spawn. Doesn't appear to be working. Oh, nope, it is. Psych!
I think we did that last time, too.
Yeah.
We were looking down and they were spawning above us.
Yeah, there they go.
It actually counts how many in the little UI there looks like.
Yeah, I see that. Okay, cool. Very cool. Okay. That's the preview. I'm going to close this. Okay. This project includes all the necessary files to run a Decentraland scene locally and includes some basic functionality already working. Create your first scene. Make sure that you've installed the Decentraland editor. Yeah, see, you don't need that. And this is incomplete. The Decentraland editor is still in beta. Okay, your operating system doesn't allow you edit permissions on the folder. Okay, well that's troubleshooting. Sorry, went to the wrong one. Okay, that's wrong. That's wrong. So I clicked on.
Yeah, I think you did click on make sure you've installed the Decentraland editor, right?
Yeah.
Or no?
Yeah, hold on. Let me close this because I don't need troubleshooting.
Maybe that's the one it opened.
Yeah. Yeah, make sure make sure you
basically just the first instruction is make sure you followed the previous instruction.
Yeah.
Kind of silly, but yeah.
Okay. Open Visual Studio Code, empty the folder, create. Yeah. So, yes, this is unnecessary. We can start here because that's essentially what we did.
Yeah, and I feel like that hasn't changed. I feel like I remember myself saying the same thing last time, is that it's not very well explained that these are 2 different options to achieve the same thing.
Yeah, good point. Okay, create your first scene, did that. Preview the scene, did that. Edit the scene. Okay, open the src/index.ts file in a folder. Okay, we did some of this stuff last time. And I don't want to go back and duplicate it. Really what I was hoping to do was that deeper dive that sort of like describes
Yeah,
I
I
don't know.
remember the avocado. I feel like we might have gotten to the avocado.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm just going to skip ahead to this part right here. And all I did was I just went from quick start to development and workflow. Install the decentralized. Design your experience. Okay. Think about how much space you need to take up, what kind of distribution, what kinds of mechanics you want players to be able to carry out, etc. Following documents serve as a guide. So there's the UX UI guide, design constraints for games, and seen minimal viable product guidelines. Have you seen any of these?
This feels like kind of like almost like a philosophy of how to design or plan a project for Decentraland more than
Mm-hmm.
like instructions on the actual development, which is kind of interesting. But
Yeah.
it also be kind of confusing for someone who just wants to like jump into the right into the code because
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you would assume like the next step from quick start is like let me just jump in and start coding, but this is more of like here's how at like an enterprise level you want to start planning out your project. Like it's thinking in a sense that you're going to have like a designer and then a product team and you know someone creating your art assets and someone coding the scene and someone creating 3D models,
Mm-hmm.
which is not really like where a beginner is going to start,
Right.
but I guess it is good to kind of introduce to people the idea of there being sort of a workflow
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah, like this is
I,
this is a really good point to delineate in-world instructions versus pop-up instructions, because I think a lot of people will use the former and forget about the latter. I was actually part of Testing Tuesday, and I was at the DCL Curations curation station, or the library, and
Mhm.
they've got a room that you go into. You have to find a book, put it into a machine, and then it plays a video. But the video is at the far end of the hall, and my recommendation was just have the video play on the screen, right? And I think just because we can create things in world, we tend to rely on having things be in world without thinking about this type of a step, UX and UI. How is the person best going to interact with your experience? And sometimes that means it needs to be submersive, right? You need to be in the world and moving through the world to do it. But there are other things, like when I sit down and I read a book, the rest of the world sort of fades away. And all I've got is the mental pictures that I've got in my mind of what's happening in the book. If I sit down and I watch something on TV, what melts away is the room that I'm sitting in. But if I go into a virtual environment and I'm watching the video on a screen in that virtual environment, that's like 2 layers of suspension of disbelief. And I think it complicates the situation. So I think that not enough people know how to create a UI or have the video pop up. And then they just rely on the tools that they've got in front of them. And that creates a less optimal user experience.
Yeah, it's a good point. Like some people might not think of the like reasoning it brings up here, of, like when you might use an in-world instruction versus when you might use a UI instruction. I think it said like if your game is kind of non-linear, but you still want to be able to show instructions, without someone having to navigate back to a starting point or something.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so it is kind of cool to talk about the philosophy of kind of game design in Decentraland and experience design, I guess.
Yeah, somebody put a lot of thought into this document. This is really nice.
Yeah.
Be careful about placing your UI in screen regions that overlap the other Decentraland UI elements, the mini map, the, here, I wish I could, I'm just going to make it bigger. Oh, it's down below this. There it is. Dude with the mustache and long hair. I love it. Yeah, so you've got the chat. Now the chat takes up even more than 25% of the screen because you've got that separate tray that comes out to the right, and it has the list of all the avatars, all the wallets that are in the scene. So it's like an extra, 5% or whatever. So now it's probably 30%. But that's good to consider.
Yeah, and then something it doesn't really call out is you do have your little profile circle up in the top right.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I know for Angzar, they had to kind of move their own little implementation of that slightly to the side.
I've seen... Oh, go ahead.
I wanted to real quickly touch on how good of a point you brought up about how we don't really need to think of metaverse design in terms of how things work in the real world. Like, that's always something that really inspired me about Lastrom, is he's always kind of been pushing people and builds and even big corporate companies to think and move away from like just recreating their flagship building in the metaverse and trying to like embrace more stuff that people can't do in the real world, and kind of like embrace the actual possibilities of a virtual world.
Mm-hmm.
And Rustan too, kind of has always been pushing for people to create things that are more surreal and things that can't exist in real life. And I've always thought that was really cool.
Yeah, agreed. I was actually having a discussion with Noodle Builder about this. I was in, I don't know, I think an On Cyber building, and it was beautifully recreated, but it had railings that I couldn't jump over because, you can jump from the third story and land to get down. That's the quickest way downstairs. I'll be damned if I'm going to walk down the stairs to get from the third floor to the first floor. But if you put the railings in the way and I can't just jump and get down, I'm going to be really frustrated. So it's like, at what point do you include real world conventions, those cues, those notes or whatever that create that familiar environment of, yes, this is what's creating the suspension of disbelief that I'm in an office building. But then there's the inconvenience of the real world. Sorry, I gotta close my door again. The inconvenience of the real world that we just would rather do without. Like, when you create a film, you don't show the 3 hours it takes to drive to Boston or whatever. You show the narrative key points that make it interesting and compel the story forward. And I was at the Angzar the tents, and I'm like, why do you have? I've just got a thing against spiral staircases. I'm like, why do you have spiral staircases here? Why can't I just like walk to a pad and then just be on the next level? And they changed it. And I'm super happy that they did, because it's like, I just want to like go to a spot so I can be at the next place and then be at the next place. I don't want to have to walk up the stairs. So
I'm just over here laughing at the idea of you like going around to tall buildings and being inconvenienced by the fact that you can't jump off in real life. Like, walking away like, oh, this is bullshit.
Exactly.
Take the elevator. Although, maybe jumping off of buildings is a weird example, because I guess it brings up the idea of, is there certain things we want to discourage people from doing in the metaverse so they don't go and do it in real life one day, when we start to not be able to tell the difference?
Yeah. Yeah, hope so. I'm listening to Virtual Society by who's the author? It's a name that I'm not super familiar with, so I have to look it up. Um, but talking about mutually agreed upon realities, and virtual reality is just a new manifestation of it. So he calls these other existences sort of like proto virtual realities. Um, Basically, we imagine things into existence, right? The fact of being a creative person, it's the act of believing that something is what makes it real.
Mm-hmm.
And if we have that mutually as a society, I mean, that's what money is, right? That's what government is. Everybody believes that the government has the power. Well, they've got the guns and whatever, but when governments get overthrown, it's like the people no longer believe that the power resides within the government. So
Right.
whatever.
Yeah. Society is completely just everyone agreeing on one certain like definition of reality. Really, it could be completely different, but since we all agree on it, that's kind of what it is.
Right. So when people come after Decentraland or other virtual spaces, with somewhat of a neo-Luddite philosophy of like how bad and how dangerous it is, it's like, okay, no, stop. It doesn't have to be this hellscape. I don't know. It's just a really interesting book. Herman Narula is the person who's writing it, and he talks about how it's that mutual belief that helps us create the space. So this is a way more philosophical discussion that I was planning to have. But
Sorry, I tend to have that impact.
no, that's okay. Hey, it's called FAFO. It's not called you must do this. It's like I like to go where the learning is deepest. And if this is where the learning takes us, I mean, I'm learning stuff. I'm learning stuff about you. I'm learning stuff about typographic hierarchy here. Like you've got these two images. I'm sharing my screen, right? Can you see my screen?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. This is kind of like a crash course on just all basic design philosophies that you need to build a game, I guess. Kind of neat.
Yeah, I had a book on design philosophy, and it was like really too obvious, so I ended up not keeping it. I'm just looking at my bookshelf to see if I still have it. And if I have a book for like over a year and I don't reference it at least once or think about it at least once, then I get rid of it because it's like I don't need it to take up mental space, so I have it take up no physical space.
Totally. Someone asked in the chat, could you use ChatGPT to help with the coding aspect of building? I think you definitely could these
Yep.
days. It's not always going to be correct, and some of the more complicated aspects of computer science definitely it will stumble on. Um, and by like, it's funny, but by complex computer science problems, I literally mean like just adding two really big, yes, really long decimal numbers is,
Mm-hmm.
for whatever stupid reason, like one of the most difficult
Yep.
problems for people to solve because of binary and all
Yes.
kinds of dumb stuff.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I was just gonna say it's because computers in binary, and there's base 10, there's dozenel, there's the Mayan method of counting that's like, what is it, base 21 or something like that. But yeah, it's like you're trying to synthesize something and its base element is just in a completely different realm. So it's like, it doesn't matter how fancy ChatGPT is. It's like the ingredients aren't there.
Yeah, it's missing a little bit of the general intelligence. But to give it credit, it's kind of doing pretty well what most it does better. How can I rephrase this? When you start coding, you start like pulling little bits and pieces of code from multiple different places, and it does that better than your average beginner coder will. So it can help you with that kind of stuff.
Okay, cool. Good to know. I'm going to close this. Okay. See,
I call it cobble coding because you're like taking bricks and building a road.
okay, I like that. Um, I've heard a derogatory term. I've actually been referred to that by some people. A script kiddie.
Cobble coder can also kind of be slightly derogatory,
Oh,
but
okay.
but it's it's not really like it's kind of like an acknowledgement of like that's how we all start, but it is also sort of like a can be used as a derogatory term for someone who's less experienced. I wouldn't call anybody that as a compliment.
Okay. Well, you can call me a cobble coder because, man, as long as it gets me um, from concept to completion, I don't care.
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's there's nothing wrong with it. Like I said, I really think it's like an organic way to learn coding that we've all kind of been through, and to some degree still kind of use it. I mean, nobody remembers every single line of syntax that's possible in every language, so we all have to look up little
Mm-hmm.
bits of code and stuff to jog our memory. So it, at some point, it's just you're like placing small tiles instead of large bricks. You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
if that
It's
makes
more
sense.
of a mosaic than it is a cobblestone road. No, I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay. I keep doing this, and it's like, I don't know, when I just updated Brave, and whatever they did to the scroll, they made it so much smaller, and I've got a 3 monitor setup, so when I go to like scroll, I end up clicking on all the apps on my taskbar on the
Okay, I'm
monitor
not
that,
going crazy then. I've had the same problem on Windows too.
okay. I mean, I could just reposition my taskbar, but it's like I've really grown accustomed to it being where it is. So here, I'll do this. Okay. So yeah, here's something else that I think is worth pointing out. Decentraland editor. They're referring to this thing right here. SDK7 Decentraland editor, which is running inside Visual Studio Code. I assume that's what they're referring to.
I think you're right.
Okay. And there's nothing in here to indicate that that's what it is, except if I go to the installation guide, and then I can see this is really helpful, right? And this is really helpful. So just having some sort of a visual cue here for Decentraland editor, because there's also the metagame hub. That is developing DCL Studio. They've got an event coming up. Is that today? It's the 21st. It is today, and it's at 17:30 CET. Well, whatever. Here, I'm just going to drag this into my screen so you can see them. But they're the ones that are working on what's called DCL Studio.
And then there's another thing called DCL Edit too, right? Which
Yes.
is completely different.
Yep. Menthol protocol. I don't like that. It makes me think of cigarettes.
Yeah.
Menthol protocol. I mean, maybe it's a great thing, menthol protocol. I don't mean to like put shade on it, but could have come up with a better term. So yeah, I'm looking for, oh, that's cool. Going over our next Decentraland Metaverse event and menthol protocol for Earth Day. So yeah, that's the thing that's happening today. And they invited me to that. That's the invitation here. But yeah, I've been following along. I go to some of these coding sessions on Thursdays, but I haven't been to the last two of them. But yeah, that's called DCL Studio. Okay, now all Decentraland builders can use the go-to editor for the DCL SDK and streamline their content creation process. Yeah, so here's a look at what it looks like. Here's the so it's called DCL Edit, which is really confusing because this is called
editor.
Decentraland Editor. So here's DCL Edit. Have you used this at all, Unknower?
That I have not tried.
Okay. I've done this on FAFO once or twice. DCL Edit version 2 is currently available on Windows, Linux, and Mac. Okay. All right. Well, I don't need to get lost in this little morass. I'll do that some other day. But that's it took me a while to find it, but that's what I wanted to point out, that this is called DCL Edit and this is called Decentraland Editor. They need a better naming convention. It's confusing.
Yep.
Okay, so reporting issues, blah, 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 blah. Okay, preview your scene. I think we know how to do that. We've already done that. Run the scene. Okay, this is really helpful. This right here. I honestly think that this probably should be not buried 3 or 4 items deep, but it should be right after or even part of the quick start. Because I think I was helping Cheddar Queso. I can't remember who I was helping, but then I ended up having to rope in Lastrum, and it was on Easter Sunday of all times. And he's like, "Okay, Scott, my family's yelling at me. I have to go." But it's because the person installed it without that -G flag. So they so they weren't able to execute, even though they like went back into the directory where it was installed and gave it admin privileges. It's because it wasn't installed with that -G flag.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so before you begin, make sure you first install the CLI tools by running the command. See? Preview your scene. But before you begin, do this. So why isn't that up here?
I think this is another case where it's not clearly explaining that these are 2 different ways of doing the same thing.
Okay, so I don't need to come here to my terminal and do npm -G install.
No, because when you hit run scene, it actually does all that for you.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
And it'll show that in the debug console, I think, or output. I forget which one.
Okay, I'm going to take a screenshot of this because we need to eliminate.
Yeah, maybe we can work together on a pull request that we can submit to them, and then they can just merge it in. And then if they have any suggestions on our edits, they can ask for clarification or something.
Okay, can we just do that right now? How would we do that?
Yeah. So I think at the bottom of each article, there's like an edit this page link.
Okay, there's the edit this
and
page
that
link.
Should bring you to that GitHub repo.
Okay. Let me just authenticate. Like I said, I've been using Windows for months, and I'm just now back to using Linux, so I have to re-authenticate here. Okay.
Okay, so we have to fork it to propose changes, I guess.
Okay.
It's probably fine because then you can edit it right on GitHub, which is kind of nice. And
Okay.
everything is just formatted with Markdown, so
Okay.
we should be able to just
Yeah. I'm just going to look at a
edit it
preview
right
so I
here.
can find it.
Hmm.
Okay, so before you begin, this sort of thing right here, using the command line interface, npm run start. What would you suggest? How would you suggest we
Um,
change that? Because it's talking about using the editor. Like, this is kind of redundant in and of itself because it's already talked about here, isn't it?
yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I asked you like 5 different questions.
um, that's okay. I guess maybe on the first line we could say, so it says once you have built a new scene or downloaded a scene example, you can preview it locally.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Here are several different options for how to preview your scene. Maybe just that adding that clarification would
Okay. And then maybe have, instead of here are several,
option one, option two,
yeah,
maybe.
here
Yeah,
are
here are several.
3 options. And then we just number them option 1,
I
option
like that.
2. Okay.
That seems more helpful.
Okay. So once you begin, okay. Um, you can use to preview your scene. So using the editor, that's option 1, yeah?
Yeah,
Okay, so we'll just say
I think
option.
that's like the best option to make as option one since that's the first option for how to install, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. It's here, if we go back here, it's right there.
Mhm.
Oh, I would even want to include, we talked about this, include like a graphical representation. Like maybe take a screenshot of this and include that. I'm going to do that.
Sorry, I had to mute for a second to cough.
That's okay.
Um, that's a good idea. We'll just have to figure out how they're hosting their images, I think.
Yeah. Well, for right now, we'll just,
Yeah.
so this is, and let's put this, this is DCL docs and run scene. Okay. Do they have any pictures? Oh, there's a where was it? Okay, here. I'm going to look here. I'm going to edit this one. And then that was all the way at the bottom. So if I go down to the bottom, well, it looks like it's a relative, not an absolute link. So it must be hosted somewhere within this documentation.
Yeah.
So I can get around that. I can just host it on my own site. And then if it gets accepted, then we can just copy it over.
Yeah, that makes sense. We can add comments to the pull request, so we could say
Mm-hmm.
if it's all right, we can move this image into the media folder, assuming that it's actually in the repository. I'll have to see.
Mm-hmm.
It could just be a relative path to somewhere else on the domain.
Shit, I forgot. forgot how to log into my own website. I mean, if I can't log in here, I can just post it on IPFS too. Shit. Oh, I hate when I forget my password. Okay, well, let's just continue. I'll just put a... No, sorry. I can't let this go. NFT.storage, I think, is what I've been using. Okay. Oh, have you seen Blockade Labs Skybox Creator on Nowhere?
I think Rustam was telling me about that when we were messing with Hyperfi last time.
Yeah. I do a quick tips with AJ for the Metaverse 3, which is CK Bubbles, Shelly Van, and High CC's weekly Twitter space. And one of the things that we did while we were in Hyperfi was I mentioned the AI tools that you can use to create skyboxes. So these are two different
Whoa.
skybox JPEGs. Yeah.
That one's cool.
Yeah. So I'll come back to that. But let me
Please do.
first upload this. So while that's uploading and getting pinned, I'll just go to Hyperfi real quick. And I'll go to the, I don't know if Sinks was online here earlier. I don't know if he's still in the audience. Nope, he's not. Hey, Brandon. Welcome back, KJ.
Hi.
Hey, what's up? So here's that watercolor.
Whoa.
Yeah, so it generated this in like 3 minutes.
That's pretty cool.
So if you go to Blockade Labs, and let's actually just go to Skybox because that's what generates it. But yeah, I love how they just have enabled it on their website, so you just can see it in real time. But like a 420 festival with lots of people. And let's make it
Nice.
Ooh, let's make it infrared.
Whoa.
I have no idea what this is gonna come out looking like.
Lots of burning joints.
Yes.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Oh, look. My total text count is 420. It's 34 of
Cheers.
420.
Like, I need an excuse to smoke. Let's get it.
That's amazing.
Okay, here it comes. You ready?
Ooh.
This is not what I was expecting.
That's infrared.
This is
Yeah.
like Pleasantville during the Cherry Blossom Festival.
Looks
Yeah.
like a dream.
All those cotton candy trees. Yes.
Pleasantville during the Cotton Candy Festival. Let's do
That's right. It's in infrared. That's probably why it looks so strange.
dreamlike. I was thinking it was going to be the false coloration of infrared. You know, kind of like in the Predator movies.
Oh yeah, so did I. I thought it'd be like the FLIR cam, where it's like different colors for heat.
Yes. Yeah.
Stoic actually takes infrared pictures that look just like this.
Wow.
Not that, but that's dope. That's sick.
This is pretty cool.
So anyway, yeah, you can download it. Let's go to where the hell did I put that stuff? Oh, it's in 3D. And my Skybox directory. But yeah, that's as easy as it is, Unknower.
Wow.
And here it is in Hyperfy. I'm not logged in, so you can't see my VRM, but oh, hey Brandon. Oh, you've got a what?
I made that.
What are those guys called?
Stickman?
Stickmen, that's right, thank you.
Yeah, I made my Stickman into a thing.
Okay, why don't my emotes work? Maybe I don't have them.
I do like wave/wave/dance.
Because you're supposed to be able to just do yeah, like you can sit down. Like number keys, but maybe it has to be enabled in certain worlds. Okay, this is ready to go. So I'm going to click on this. Maybe. Yeah, maybe it's not ready. Oh, I forget what I have to add to append to this. I could just do that. Like I could... The CID has been copied, but I have to add something else to it to get it to show up as an image. Oh, shit. Oh, interesting. It has to reload it after I log in. Yeah, so here I am as a Bubble Man. It's called Bubble Boy. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why it's taken so long, but whatever. It's here. It's added. We can add it later. Don't need to have that open anymore. Okay, so once you have built a new scene or downloaded a scene example, you can preview it locally. Here are 3 different options you can use to preview your scene. Option 1, using the editor. Option 2, using the CLI.
Yep, and then I think there wasn't there a third one. Maybe there's only 2.
Maybe there is only 2. But yeah, it talks about how to run the CLI. You need to do the global install and then preview your scene, parameters of the preview command, so on and so forth. And then I think it just goes down to this next point, which is upload a scene to Decentraland. So 2. There's only 2. So we'll change that to read. Where's, oh, it's up here. Okay. Two different options. Using the editor. Option 2. Using the CLI. Okay. And then okay, so convention-wise, this should not be nested 3 in. This should just be 2 in.
Yeah, see what you mean. Because that's I was gonna say we need to find out when it stops being the CLI specific instructions. That seems about right.
Yeah, because I mean, this is still no. Those are. I'm gonna change
Actually, no,
that.
that seems pretty CLI specific.
Yeah.
Upload a scene is definitely where it would break back out.
Yeah, upload a scene, preview a scene. Okay. All right, and then run a preview. And then we just say, here's my description. Oh no, my description goes here. So I leave, what do I type in here is I guess what I'm
just a short description of your change, I guess.
Okay, but the description goes here. This is just like the title.
I guess that'd be like the
overview.
That'll end up as the title of your pull request.
Okay.
I think.
So just clarifying text for this page.
Yeah, or it might become a commit. Well, it's a sign off and propose changes, so yeah, it's probably going to create a pull request from that. So I guess we could call it update to SDK7 documentation. And then I wonder if it'll let us add more to our pull request once we create one for one file.
Well, I think so, because remember I went to the page with the bats and I clicked edit and it just let me edit it right away. I didn't have to do anything else like I did the first time for this particular page. It just let me start editing it straight away. Okay, so I think this is just added clarifying language.
Yeah, it sounds right. Added language to clarify that the CLI is just one option, maybe. Yeah. Well said.
Yeah, so it's like use the editor and then use the CLI.
Yeah, it seems like there's steps instead of options.
Okay. Sign off and propose changes. Cool. So I love the meta learning that's happening here, because if anybody comes back and watches this, they can see how to create a pull request, because we just did it.
Yeah, now you're contributing to Decentraland. Boom. You didn't even have to know how to code. It's just you're just like adjusting a Word document pretty much.
Yep.
So that's the beauty of open source and the beauty of decentralization.
Exactly. I couldn't have said that better myself. And I've done this before, but it's what we were talking about at the opening of this, where it's like I don't remember the specifics, and you've helped me sort of usher me forward in doing that. So thank you.
Yeah, I think our mistake last time was thinking that someone was going to do this for us.
Yes. Yes.
Go watch all of our time that we spent criticizing and pull out each little thing that we should have done ourselves, which, you know,
And now we just did it. So
yeah,
okay.
it took us that much time, which was basically as long as it took us to say there was something wrong with it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay. So we've done this option, and in seeing this, I was reminded of the importance. Oh gosh, darn it! Here we go. Okay, I was reminded of the importance of using that global flag when I was helping Cheddar Queso. Okay, so I think we're pretty much done with this. Upload a scene to Decentraland. Well, this is something different. So once you're happy with your scene, you can upload it and publish it to Decentraland. Okay, so I want to go back into Visual Studio Code, and I want to that cube spawner scene that we've got.
you're looking for your files.
Yeah, I'm looking for the files for this scene.
Okay, so back in VS Code, there's like a little icon in the top left,
This
right
one?
under File. Explorer, File Explorer, and that's where all your files for that folder are.
Okay, so this directory, this folder, DCL, is the one that you saw me create at the beginning of this. So here's all the files. Okay. Now, if I go back to the documentation, see publishing for instructions on how to do that. Let's go to publishing. Okay. I don't care about the scene limitations. It's a very basic scene. I've got a MetaMask. You own the necessary amount of land. So I don't own any land, but I do have a name. And I do remember that there was an option. It doesn't appear to be here anymore. Open editors. So I got to go here.
Oh yeah, it's in the Decentraland extension.
Okay. So here I can publish to my world. I just click publish to world.
There is a small there's like a small section you have to add to your scene.json.
Yeah, okay. So let me go back here. Let me go to scene.json. Oh, shit. I wanted to do this. Okay.
I think there's documentation on what you have to put in there.
Yeah. I'm just going to
Forget
search
where
for
exactly, yeah.
Why is it not searching? There it is, World to Overview documentation.
Yeah, that looks right.
Yep, this right here.
Bingo.
Okay, now, do I put it here like that?
So they formatted it weird and gave you 2 extra brackets.
So no, I take this part right here.
And you can delete those 2. And then the thing about JSON is every item within quotation marks like that needs to be separated by a comma. So yeah, you figured it out. You have to add a comma before you add in the section of code that they gave us.
Okay, I'm going to take another screenshot and
to show how to integrate that. That's the idea.
Yes.
I was going to say we should clarify that, but I think just showing that screenshot would be sufficient.
Okay. So where do I want to put this? What is this? Oh, that's my .stir account. I don't need that up anymore. But what I do want to do is I want to find a name to deploy it to. I've got a couple different names. So if I go to my NFTs, we'll use Scottoshi. That was a gift from Kanessa13 and Josh. They bought that.
I like it.
They bought that name for me, which I'm very touched by that. So we're gonna do this here. So Scottoshi.dcl.eth. Okay, so save that.
You know, just copying that little line though required me to have a little bit of knowledge of how JSON worked, and it should have just been us copying a line in. Like that's the stuff we really just need to streamline for people.
Yes, exactly. Because I got to tell you, man, this is what we're up against.
Yeah. And we're already losing people to it, which is discouraging to the rest of us.
Yeah. No, it became abundantly clear to me yesterday when I was there with Sinks and who else was there? Kronos, Rustan was there, and they were just like, okay, now Scott, you still got the default grid under there. Delete that grid. And as I was doing that, everybody that was in the world, as I was editing in real time, got to see it at the same time, and I gasped because before there was just this plane that went, under my feet across, but I was able to then, orbit all the way around it.
Mm-hmm.
Why is Brandon jumping up and down?
Up between flying and colliding, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. Because now I'm flying, but if I do... Yeah, that's weird.
Huh.
Anyway, yeah, this is what we're up against.
Yeah, nobody has to join a Discord call to learn how to build. You can literally just teach someone in world.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a huge proponent of what you're saying because of that reason. Decentraland limits you so much. And like anyone that's been pushing through Decentraland, trust me, y'all are the elites of the elites of computers because it's a boot camp. Mm-hmm. Look at the screen you're on, Scott.
Yeah.
That's what people have to do to get things like what you're looking at right now.
Yep.
So it's great for people that want to learn that shit, but that's the niche community which it's created.
Yep.
Yeah, and to be honest, as a developer, it's hard not to think sometimes like Roblox is such a more popular platform. Should I be like branching out and seeing if I can, make content over there?
Yep.
And
yes, sir.
Something about that to me feels like I'd be betraying Decentraland and all my friends in the community here by not helping contribute to its growth because there's such a shortage of developers as it is.
I keep telling everyone that Decentraland was an amazing stepping stone and a milestone, but stepping stone.
Well, in order to maintain its relevance, I mean, I think they're doing the right things. I just don't think they're moving fast enough. Or
it's having its MySpace moment.
Yes. Yeah.
Where it has to shit or get off the pot.
Yep. And here, what we were looking at earlier on Nowhere, I mean, this is really handy. I love the fact that you've got access to the awesome repository so simply. I mean, this looks a lot like the tool that I used in my classroom when I was teaching 3D environments to 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. It's Mozilla Hubs, right? Where they can have a window here, construction window. They can have a content editor over on the right, and then they can have all of these items, and they can just drag and drop and start adding things like, particle emitters, or start moving things around and saving keyframes, or having things rotate, or having it change color, or having lights turn on and off. This looks an awful lot like the editor in Sandbox. So they need to go faster. This needs to, I'm definitely gonna the fact that it's currently available in Linux right now. I'm gonna, when we're done here, I'm gonna download it again and try it in Linux, because they're constantly adding to it and updating it. But man, the fact that the world that you exist in is also the editor, and it's literally a mouse click away. I mean, here's the pencil. I've got deployment rights to this thanks to Syncs, and I can add all of these different things. Here's a minter. Here's a way for people to tip me for paying. Here's a camera. So there's a guy, his name is MetaMike, and he set up a photo booth for the CloneX exhibit. So for people that wanted to take pictures in world, you just click on that and it's there. So
there are so many things that we could be building, or that either the community or the foundation could be building, that could make not only the platform better, but like it could help grow the Decentraland economy. Like, why can't I buy like AJ's buildings, from a store in Decentraland and then go deploy it to my land without ever leaving the world?
Decentraland, yeah. No, and that's part of what Last Slice is doing with Angzar, and it's, I'm a huge proponent, a huge supporter of it, and I think what they've got going on there is miles above what has been done in the space. But it's like, even that, it's still,
I think they're like pushing the limits of what the platform allows.
Yeah.
I think something like being able to sell buildings that people could deploy on their land is like, that's when you start to hit limitations of the platform itself, just because it's still, building itself is such a learning curve.
And there's too many new platforms coming out for them to not be working, I don't want to say hard enough, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
it's work smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
That's what's going on. Okay, I don't need this. I don't need this.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that they just had some trick up their sleeve all this time that they're about to reveal that'll blow everything out of the water, but I don't know how realistic that is.
All they could do now is work on interoperability with other metaverses, and that's...
Yeah, because people are already using the other metaverse worlds, Brandon, as the tool of preference. Rustam was saying that oh my God, what's her name? Kirzaz will create her wearables and then bring them into Hyperfy, because it's so much easier than bringing it into the builder in Decentraland.
Yeah. This Stickman is a perfect... I just finished this last night. I still need to fix things because I saw them in Hyperfy.
Yes, yeah. So I've got a GLB of my the new clubhouse for ABC Decentraland, and here it is.
Oh, that's dope. Have you ever been to Colorado Springs?
Yep.
The Air Force Academy? The cathedral?
No, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. This is kind of what it looks like on the inside.
So this is the scale that it needs to be to scale in Decentraland. But I didn't notice this in Blender, but now being in here, just orbit around, Brandon, so you're looking at it from this side.
Oh.
Oh, shit. I do not like that. Do not like. The normals on these beams, these A-frame beams, are inverted. And I see that now because I'm in the world.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah, I see it now.
And the fact that I was able to just take it, from my file drag it and drop it in here, and there it is. And I didn't have to go through that whole rigmarole. Ugh.
Right. Importing it into a project and then running the project, waiting for it to build, opening your browser.
Yep.
I keep telling people we are getting what we deserve this whole time.
What do you mean?
You guys all deserve this type of software to be playing on.
Oh, yeah. I see what you mean. Yep.
Hey.
It is looking really cool.
Oh, hey, what's up, Argent?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going really well. Isn't this beautiful?
It's awesome. Yeah, I would love if it's even super bigger, but because I like super big structures.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, that's one of the limitations of Decentraland, right? I made this
yeah,
14.6. It's like basically just shy of the length of a 1x1 parcel in Decentraland, and that's what CK has. So that's the limitation that I needed to make for it.
I know. And the Decentraland is different for that, but it's looking so damn good, you know.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, Argent was here, Anor, last week in our FAFO sessions, and she helped me make this using some of the modifiers in Blender.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so like there's one pane of glass that's got a solidify modifier, and then that's duplicated through an array, and that makes all these across the top, and then duplicated it in another array to get the ones on the bottom, and then used a mirror array to duplicate them for the other side.
Oh, that's cool. I need to learn stuff like that. That makes, man, that seems like it would make building a lot easier.
Yeah,
I'm
the
very,
array modifier is elite for that shit, bro.
I'm so programmatic about building things. I like building architecture where it's very mathematical. So I feel like that would really help the workflow for this type of stuff that I would like to build.
Scott, I made the GameCube logo into a building for Decentraland. I put the productivity thing at the GLB.
Oh, cool.
In fact, if you are more into math and so for building, you should try geometry nodes in Blender.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And there's also a couple of add-ons that helps you, for example, to measure distances or to calculate like more perfectly on if you have used Solid, I think is the name of the software that is for fabrics. If not, it does not matter. Blender can do it perfectly. So
I haven't used Solid, but I'm definitely taking notes. This is beautiful. Thank you, Argent.
you're welcome.
Okay,
But
so
the design is I only help it with a little bit of the speed of the project, but it's not that you can do anyway the same thing without the tricks that I show it out. So you can do it at your own little steps if you find it too.
oh, what happened? Whoops. Something wrong. So I fixed the normals for this one.
Yeah.
And now I want to export this GLB again. So here, let's just do select everything, and then do file export GLB. Include selected objects. Try that.
I love how the crystal looks in here.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it didn't apply transforms. That's the problem.
Oh, I think there's a checkbox in the
Yeah.
export to apply the modifiers.
Yeah. Yeah, I said transforms. I meant modifiers. You guys got me. Export GLB include selected transform, but where's the thing that I select to? There it is. Apply modifiers.
Yep. There you go.
Okay. Okay. So let's get rid of this. There it is.
Oh, it's looking so cool.
That is looking really cool.
Yeah.
So
I like it.
So here you can see for the model is I can animate it. So if I had animated the transforms, the translation, scale, rotation, I can turn that on and then it would be animated in here. That's how easy it is. And then if I want it to have collisions, I just turn it on there. Go back here and click save. Now it's got collisions. So if I want to, I just happen to have placed it at the right height for ground level. But if I do double space and then I fly up, let's
I like the environment that you use, the sky.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I was just showing a knower how to do this. It's so easy, Argent. Yeah, so now I can stand on the beams. But this is yeah, this was kind of the effect that I was hoping for. But I need to redesign it because I want the camera what the camera's doing where it kind of phases in and out. I wanted to avoid that. I wanted to be able to do this, to be on the outside looking at the character inside. And the only way to do that is to make sure that these supports don't have collisions. So for this, I could like turn collision off. Oh, it still does it. Interesting.
Yeah, I was wondering why Solidify changed that. Because that is already explain, sorry.
Yeah, no. It's so my thought, Argent, is that I would be able to here, let me come over here. I would be able to look in like this. I would be able to keep the camera out here if there aren't any colliders on this object, that I should be able to do this. Go like this, but instead of my character being outside, the character would be inside. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I thought if it didn't have colliders on it, that the camera would just pass through each one of these sections. But that is not the case.
No,
as soon as I go past it, it limits that camera plane view. See?
Yeah. So far, what I know is that in any platform, it will go like that.
Yeah, I don't like
it. Because until you can zoom with your camera out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the problem in here is that I don't know how you can zoom it out. Maybe with the middle mouse.
Yeah. Well,
no, but
I can do that already. So I'm using my scroll wheel right now, and that is changing how close my third-person view is. So maybe,
but
maybe that
you
might
need
be
to be yeah, you need to be away, like quite away from your camera. You are too close, like zooming out, like very out.
Yeah. Very far away.
But yeah, that I see it happens to any other, so far I see this happening a lot of other games, metaverses. So it's not the only ones that I see that is not happening is because I think they define, they can target the camera. So when your camera is very close to a wall, it's not going to trespass it, even if also is very very far away. But it's because it's something that it's like something that, for example, I don't know, if you play Tomb Raider, you will see that even when you are in a cave that is very
Narrow.
little, and so yeah, you will see that the camera does not go out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there has
Yeah.
to be some restrictions, some rules
Yeah.
for the camera to follow. Otherwise, where do you have the camera go? So I
Yeah.
guess what I need to know better from Hyperfi is what are those rules? Because I constructed this with the intent to bring it into Decentraland.
Mhm.
And that's
It
yeah,
does
so-
seem like it should be based on collision, right? Not just
Yes.
something being there.
But
'Cause what about water?
Yeah, but it's not based that I was saying. It's not based on collision. It's based on camera and structures, no matter if the structure has a collision or
has
not.
collision or not. Okay.
Yeah, for example, if you have ever built in Second Life, or you are used to use Second Life, you will know that there's a restriction for the camera to avoid to do that.
Okay.
So you can uncheck that, and then the camera trespass the walls, and you are able to zoom very, very out in order to see to have the effect that you want out.
Okay. So there is a way to modify that, at least in Second
Yeah.
Life. Okay.
Yeah, for the user. For in games, is something that it is defined by the motor of the game, of course, and what the developers decides to have it. In Decentraland, I have no idea how they do it. In Aperfy, neither. In Mona, I'm not sure, because no, in fact, in Mona, yes, you can, but the problem is that if you zoom very away, the problem is that then it's like all disappears, in a certain manner of speaking. But if your zoom is in a very appropriate distance, for example, I have a ball that is for stages in one of my buildings. And you can actually zoom enough outside to see what is going on inside the ball, So that is, yeah, it's, but I am trying to remember that, for example, when I went into, it's more into, and the ball it has no collisions, of course, but because you need to get inside the ball. But for example, it does exactly the same if it does not have collisions neither with the little balls. It's something related to the camera.
Okay. All right. Well, that's definitely something to investigate.
Yeah, I'm wondering like what it would do in a situation where you had maybe a waterfall with a cave behind it that you could go into. What would you want the camera to be able to do when you were behind the waterfall? let's say the cave has collision, but you can walk through the waterfall.
Yes.
I feel like you should be able to look outside of the waterfall in third person,
Yeah.
but
Well,
maybe
if
not
you are,
if you're. It's in a game perspective. It's kind of like if your player can't look outside, maybe you shouldn't be able to either. But then this is, I guess, this brings us back to the interesting
yeah, the
glass
problem, yeah.
proposition where it's see-through, but it is a collider. There's some interesting edge cases.
Okay,
But
so
for example, here the problem of the example of the cascade is exactly the same that is going through the building. That the transparency while he's inside, he can see outside. The problem is zooming the camera enough out to actually see what's going inside.
yeah, and I think it's, even if it's not possible now, I think there should be some way to, create an effect in world, like in spatial. If you point your mouse somewhere and you double click, that's where you just immediately teleport.
Yeah.
In AltSpace VR, you would use the hand controls, and you would use like one of the buttons on the right hand control, and it would draw a trajectory, right? That would then
Yeah.
target
Because
where you wanted to teleport to, and then you would teleport there. So just maybe some keyboard combination or keyboard mouse combination that would empower the user to, as you're saying, Argent, move the camera farther away, or reel it in closer, like almost as if it were your own personal 3D view drone.
correct. Yes. For example, in Second Life, it's the same thing that the one that you described lately, that you have controllers of the camera. Also, as well, a part of this option that you can in the preferences, where you can unlock or lock if you want to do that of looking or limiting your view to insides or interiors. The other thing that it has is that it has camera controls, so you can really do a really long shot
Okay.
if you want.
Nice. Okay. Unknower, while you're here, are you here, Unknower?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I am.
Okay. So this is what I wanted to do on Monday's episode. Was I wanted to contrast the complexity / simplicity of loading up my GLB in Hyperfy versus loading it up in my DCL world, right? Those would be, I think, comparable. So if I go to my Visual Studio Code here, and I've got just the cube spawner, right? I got this scene set up. Now, to deploy this, all I have to do is do DCL run, right? Or not?
You can do DCL deploy, or there's that button in the Decentraland extension that we downloaded
Right.
earlier.
Okay. So I go back here to the Decentraland SDK7, and then I click this, and then I say publish scene to world.
Yep.
Okay.
And it should work now that we added that line to our scene JSON
Okay.
file. Yeah, there we go.
Okay. So now if I go to scatoshi.dcl.eth, we should see it.
Actually, it looks like it stopped for some reason.
Oh.
What's it saying?
That's super cool. I need to go, but be right back in 1 hour, something like that. You will
Okay.
still around?
Possibly, yeah. I need to take a bio break here for a little bit, so I haven't eaten anything, and I've been going for a couple hours. But yeah, we'll
Fine.
probably be here. The space will
Okay.
probably be open.
Okay. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Yeah.
Okay, killing process SDK scene deploy, no browser.
Maybe we did hit run scene already, right? So it should.
Yeah, we did. And then here I just clicked open in browser. I mean, it was already running, but I can do it again. Still want to get
the reason I'm asking is I'm thinking maybe it had to build before we deployed it, but I think it should have already done that. Kind of weird that it failed. What it would normally do is open up a new window in your browser where you would sign a transaction to demonstrate ownership of that name that you were using and deploy it.
It would be the linker app.
Yeah.
Oh shit. I don't know what but here it's running locally. It looks like.
Yeah, I wonder what we did wrong.
Well. So I guess we'll get this figured out, but what I wanted to do was just take my GLB and drop it into this new scene.
Yeah, so like clock is ticking decentralized. Right?
Yeah, right?
Oh man.
A side-by-side comparison is really what I wanted to do, is like have two people, you give them the same set of tools. One person has the they both have the GLB, right? And they have the whatever, the skybox and whatever else you want to include in it. And you give one person this and you give the other person Hyperfy and go, and you time them. Like you said, the clock is running. Who can build the scene faster?
Someone gets to this and they go, I don't know what's wrong with this thing, and they give up. And they move on to something that's easier to use.
Yep.
That doesn't present as many blockers to their creative process.
Head-to-head comparison. That's what it's called. Head-to-head comparison.
Yeah.
Okay. Because, yeah, I mean, Mr. Dingia just yesterday published or posted a tweet about all of his builds that are now part of the awesome repository. What I've got here, this GLB of this A-frame is that, right? He provides people with GLBs. You should just be able to drag it, drop it, and then have it be in your DCL world and start dropping other things from the repository in there and start using it.
Oh,
so, yeah.
That's probably what I forgot that I think I was actually thinking about that because I'm working on my little virtual land manager, and I want to create a marketplace where you can buy and sell GLBs that people can then just drop in into a scene from either like a UI in Decentraland or a web application that they can have running on the side.
Cool. I just dropped a link to his tweet, and that tweet has a link to his to the GitHub that has the buildings.
Sweet.
Okay, so
yeah, I'll include those then in the first version of what I'm trying to build, and I'll just hopefully can make that the first implementation of that. But that might be down the road a little while. I don't want to sideline us with that.
Yeah. So I guess what do I need to do to figure out how to make this work? Like, where in this code?
Yeah.
Found 0 errors, and then here it says no browser.
No browser.
And what is this little thing? What even is that? The red box with white lettering at an angle.
It looks like it could be some kind of weird special character that's not recognized by your OS, by Linux maybe.
Okay. Well, let me, instead of trying to use this thing.
Maybe since we're on Linux, it's not working. Maybe just try the DCL deploy, because I think that's the command that button is essentially running under the hood.
Yeah.
So maybe they're assuming, hey, if you're running Linux, you're probably set up to do the more advanced stuff. You're like probably already slightly familiar with using command line as a Linux user, right?
Yeah. Bad assumption, but whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
scene MVP. I can close that. I can close this. That's taken forever to update. Okay, this is what I want. I want here, there's the DCL deploy target world content server. For SDK7 scenes, it's npm run deploy. That's a different command. So let's go back here.
That is quite different.
Shit. Copy. What the fuck?
I'd be like shift insert. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
For command shift or control shift B. Oh, that would explain it. I guess npm wasn't installed.
Mm-hmm. Gotta remember my pseudo password. Oh shit. Okay. Well, let's try it again. There we go.
I wondered, was that included in the documentation as?
Well, that was. I don't think so.
As like a prerequisite for either condition, either option.
This right here, before you begin npm. So this is using the CLI.
Yeah.
So.
It doesn't say anything about installing npm.
No.
Or making sure npm is installed before you begin any of this stuff, though.
Yeah, because even if you try to use the editor.
That's my point of.
Yeah.
Assuming knowledge, yeah.
Even if you try this and just pushing the buttons, it won't work if you don't at least do this. So if we go back to the quick start, we may need to put a pull request on this page right here. Right? Install Visual Studio Code. Did that. Open the code. Read the installation guide. If we come here, read the installation guide, this does not say anything about npm. At least for Linux.
Nope.
So we may need to add that into this documentation.
Yeah.
Because if we do this whole thing, create your first scene, run the scene, and then preview the scene, that'll all work until you get to here, publishing the scene.
Yep.
So yeah, it really should be before that. This.
Although I'm surprised it doesn't use npm to run the scene, actually.
Well, this is very specific to Worlds and to SDK7 and to Linux. So
yeah.
It could be that on Windows using SDK6 or SDK7, it works fine. You can just push the buttons and it works fine. So
I wish I could say for sure because npm is just something I take for granted because I have to use it for everything. So like it's one of those things where if I was writing documentation, I wouldn't put it past myself to forget to include that.
Yeah.
That's something you have to do because to me it's like a given on any computer I own. But that's my own like inherent cognitive bias, you know.
Well, I mean, that's why it's important for us to do these things, to fuck around and find out, right?
Yeah. Especially as like someone who plans on writing documentation or contributing to it. It's like definitely good to know where the snags are from an actual user's perspective, or you know, walking through it as if you were a beginner with no existing knowledge of how to do any of this, which is really realistically the type of people that we should be encouraging because even if they don't end up staying in Decentraland, we've helped them improve themselves in some way.
Right. You've ushered them further on their pursuit of knowledge, just general knowledge for programming or world creation.
Yeah.
And you
And if
want
they
to,
don't like it, at least they tried it.
yeah, you want to set them up in the right direction at least.
Yeah, with the minimal amount of barriers. And I think Decentraland is well set up to be that for people. That kind of intro to programming.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like one language, and you can start doing stuff.
Yeah, you can immediately
whereas,
see results.
Mm-hmm. And you don't have to fiddle around with setting up a web server and having a UI application versus an API application, or like if you want to just use a content management versus a WordPress. If you're just beginning, you probably don't even know what I'm saying right now. So it's like.
So I tried it again after doing npm install, but now I'm wondering.
I think it said unexpected token.
Where is the npm that I can close? Worlds. Oh, yeah, here it is. Worlds overview.
So I know with Windows and Mac, npm gets installed automatically with Node.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible that maybe we installed it separately without realizing it, because we just kind of followed the instructions when it was suggesting, hey, maybe you want to use apt-get to install npm.
Yeah.
So maybe it's that we installed the Node package manager, but we didn't actually install Node.
Okay. Well, here is the whole string of things that got installed. Setting up Node, all these things.
Well, yeah. I'm sure Node must have been a dependency at some point, right?
Well, here, if I just type in Node.
Yep, there you go. So, there goes that theory.
I mean, what's a thing I can do inside Node to ask like what version it is, or just type in version?
I mean, that is a JavaScript error. So you could do console.log or something.
Okay, let's try that again.
And then, oh yeah, sorry, there's parentheses after that, and then you can type like hello world or something. So opening paren, close paren, and then within, you want to use quotation marks around your hello world as well,
Okay.
and then the hello world will go inside the parentheses. Sorry, you had it correct before.
Yep. Okay. No big deal.
Hehe.
And then undefined. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Looks like it's running.
Yeah, looks like Node.
Okay, so
Weird.
now I'm just going to do this npm run deploy instead of trying to push the button again. Right?
Right on. Yeah, let's see if that works. Unexpected token question mark?
At module dot underscore compile internal modules CJS loader blah 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 blah.
That's weird, because that's in the dist folder, which is kind of like the final file that gets compiled by like the TypeScript compiler. Kind of like combines all your code down into one file. So that doesn't seem like it's an error that was caused by you, especially since you just deployed the default scene.
Well, it says here a complete log of this run can be found here. So
Take a look.
That is not helpful.
Yeah, I agree.
Here we go. Let's go. Oh, shoot. I thought I copied it. I didn't. Let's see. Home, Scott. Run.
You would almost think that with the level of complexity involved with this setup, you would think that it would at least be more capable than Hyper-V, but the sad part is that I don't think it even is. But I really don't want to keep just shitting on Decentraland.
Yeah, no, I know.
It-
I know which. No.
Yeah, I wish we could get this working more easily.
Well, I'm not able to do it just through regular Windows Explorer, so I'm just going to open up a command line interface and just say ls and go to okay. So I was in the right place. I could have just done this. Oh, ls space minus als. Then I'm looking for .npm. There it is. Okay. And then, oh, it's not even there. .2023. So this thing that says where it is. Oh, logs. It's in. Oh, I got to go one more. Now, there it is. Okay. It's the one that starts 2023, 25-10. Okay, so I can do sudo nano space 2023 dash blah blah blah. Where's the underscore 10? Nope, not enough. 218. That's what I'm missing. There we go.
Yeah.
Silly log file, done cleaning log files. That's cute. This doesn't help at all. Shit. Close terminal. Okay. Well, I need to go get something to eat. I'm going to come back at it probably in 30-40 minutes. So I'm going to stop the stream. You guys, by all means, continue to hang out. But yeah, the head-to-head competition. Let's just say there's a lot of room for improvement for Decentraland.
Hey, sorry, man. I didn't mean to ditch you. Had to take a quick phone call.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I'm just saying I need to take a break. I gotta go get something to eat. So I'm gonna stop streaming, stop recording. I'll be back in about 40 minutes, and pick it up again. But
Okay.
I concluded that the head-to-head competition between Decentraland Worlds and Hyperfy, there's a lot of room for improvement. Let's have a growth mindset. And,
Yeah.
and say that there's a lot of room to improve in terms of making it easy to use for the average quasi-technical artist like myself.